Hi guys, welcome. So this is the daily analysis for today, that is the 4th of February, and this will be presented to you by me, Dipanshu Singh. So you can read more about me on this slide, and you can click on this link or copy paste it in your browser to get updates to my courses by following me. So the practice question for today is, which state government has recently introduced the third gender category in school exam? Very important news from prelims point of view. And the answer for yesterday's question is, I know a lot of you actually made a mistake yesterday, because the question asked for what is the theme and not the location or the organization of the Suraj Kund Mela festival. So Jharkhand was the theme state, and it is organized in Haryana, in Faridabad. So the Mela is hosted jointly by the Haryana Tourism Corporation and Suraj Kund Mela Authority in collaboration with the Union Ministries of Tourism, Textile, Culture and External Affairs. So this bit of information for the Suraj Kund Mela is important and can be asked in respective examinations. Now the national page news. So a lot of information here which we have arranged in this summary are from different newspapers. So there might be a possibility that you cannot locate this information from the Hindu, but there no need to worry. These all important. We have summarized it for you so that it can be useful for examinations. So the first one is that the Niti Aayog has launched the India Innovation Index. So it has jointly been developed by the Niti Aayog, DIPP, that is Department of Industry Policy Promotion, and the CII, Confederation of Indian Industry, in consultation with the World Economic Forum, World Intellectual Property Organization, which is the principal body working with the Innovation Index. Apart from that, Cornell University, INSEAD, ILO, OECD, UNESCO, and these all respective organizations, etc. So it will basically rank states on innovation through countries' first online innovation index portal that will capture data on innovation from all states. So if you look at this innovation index, the Global Innovation Index is co-published by the WIPO. So these all reports are very important because UPSC has been now continuously asking reports and organizations in the exam. Along with Cornell University and INSEAD, with CIA as a knowledge partner since inception, has been ranking world economies including India since 2007. And India currently in the latest ranking is 66th out of 128 countries. Now, the other news is that the government has notified new rules for medical devices to check the pricing and the misuse of these medical devices. So under the new rules, the manufacturers will not be required to renew license periodically, and submission of applications of the licenses will be done online. So this is done in lieu of improving the ease of doing business rankings of India. And the new rules have been framed in conformity with the Global Harmonization Task Force framework and conforms to the best international practices. Now, apart from that, the system of third-party conformity assessment and certification through notified bodies is envisaged to bring in the highest degree of professionalism in regulation of medical devices under this new rule. Now, this information can be important from prelims or state examinations. So, the joint military exercise between India and Maldives is known as Equivarin, and it has a participation of an infantry platoon from each side. And the latest exercise was conducted in Maldives in December 2016. And the objective of this exercise is to enhance defense cooperation and interoperability between the army of both countries, with emphasis on counter-insurgency and counter-terrorist operations under the UN mandate. And this other news is about very important from the social perspective. So the Tribal Healthcare Research Program, THRCP, was started by the Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, and it is an autonomous organization under the central government, CCRAS. And this tribal healthcare project research program involves studies of the living conditions of the tribal people, including the health tradition, including the health tradition, that LHT. So they will use common medicine plants in the area that will also be researched, and the propagation of knowledge about hygiene and prevention of disease will also be studied, and extension of medical aid at doorsteps will also be the mandate of this program. Apart from that, the objectives of the project is to provide healthcare facility to tribal population, promote healthy living among them, and collect and document the folk claims and local health traditions to enable further research. Now, this is news from Science and Tech page of the Hindu. So, third-hand smoke may harm infants. This is as per a study. So, scientists have issued a warning about what they call a third-hand smoke. So, third-hand smoke is basically the sticky residue from tobacco puffing that clings on walls and furniture. So, these are the sticky residues left behind in your near objects like computers, your mobiles, your clothes even. And generally, if you have a friend who smokes a lot, so even after he has come back after smoking outside, you can still smell the fragrance of smoke, or rather that he has just come after smoking. So that is because of the sticky residue which sticks on the clothes. So this, according to the study, is dangerous for small children, and they are particularly vulnerable who are exposed to this the third hand smoke toxicants through inhalation, ingestion and dermal contact, that is the skin contact. Now, Chenchu tribals get an ATM for medicine. So these tribals are one of the most primitive tribal groups that are still dependent on forest and do not cultivate land but hunt for a living. And they reside in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So there can be a question regarding match the following on the residence and where they live and where they belong to. So to solve the problem of this primitive tribal group, a problem of emergency medical care, the first of its kind medicine ATM has been opened up in the remote Chenchu Gudems, that is the habitation of Chenchus, the particularly vulnerable tribal people of the Prakasam district in Andhra Pradesh, because there is a very difficult terrain and there is lack of communication networks. So under this program, medicines would be available free of cost anytime during 24-hour service, and all the tribal folks had to do is just call on the local health worker, who will just inform the doctor who is sitting far away about the medical parameters, and doctor after assessment will give online prescriptions, and it will send back an SMS to the remote medicine dispenser, who will then dispense the appropriate medicine quickly. So this is a very good move, in reaching out to these vulnerable people and improving their medical facilities and the access to healthcare. Now, 21st century spotlights prehistoric rock art. So, a prehistoric rock art has been identified in the foothills of the Ambukuthi Hills in the same village which is located near the taluk of Kerala's Wayanad district, where the world famous Edakal caves are located, and they're famous for the Neolithic petroglyphs, which were spotted by the Britisher Fred Fawcett a century ago. So, what are petroglyphs? So, they are the rock carvings, rock paintings, or called pictographs, made by directly pecking on the rock surface using a stone tool, a chisel stone, and a hammer stone. And petroglyphs, which are the carvings, and petrographs are actually the drawings and the paintings. These are commonly found in rock shelters, but in Ambukuthi they are being discovered on some granite blocks that are independently located. So why this finding is important. And the rock engravings are very similar to the Edakal caves and the Thovari petroglyphs, and they are situated between the Ambukuthi hills and the Thovari rock. So important news for art and culture sections of UPSC. Now, international news. So this news important from the relation of in the context of bilateral relations, and otherwise also in particularly relating to defense news and internal security. So China has successfully tested its nuclear capable DF-5C missile, that is a Dongfeng 5 missile with 10 nuclear warheads. So this is a 3-stage Chinese intercontinental ballistic missile. So we look at what are intercontinental ballistic missiles in ahead, a bit of information, and then if you look at this missile, it has a length of 32.6 meters and a diameter of 3.35 meters. It weighs 183,000 kilograms, so that's really heavy missile. But then the biggest advantage of this missile is that it has an estimated range of 12,000 15,000 kilometers. Compare it to the Agni 5 range, which is the highest ranging intercontinental ballistic missile of India, which has generally declared a range of 5,000 kilometers above. But then what some people and defense and security experts say that Agni 5 has a potential range of 8,000 to 10,000 kilometers, which is not disclosed by India obviously for security reasons. So the range of this missile is till 15,000 kilometers, and the DF first flight was conducted in 1971 and was in operational service 10 years later. So this missile's development is considered as a response to development of the US's ballistic missile defense system. So what are the ICBMs? So it is a guided ballistic missile system with a minimum range of 5,500 kilometers. So there are ballistic missile, but then for an intercontinental ballistic missile to be classified under this category, it has to have a minimum range of 5,500 kilometers or 3,400 miles respectively, which is primarily designed for a nuclear weapons delivery. So what is the difference between ballistic and cruise missile? So ballistic missile is more like a projectile. So first they will launch it and it will go beyond the atmosphere, and is more like a projectile from a single launch force. So once it reaches the atmosphere, the stage will separate out and it will land under the free fall of gravity. So it is guided only for a certain period till it reaches the atmosphere. Then it is generally follows the principles of aerodynamics and is guided by gravity. Compare that to the cruise missile, which has its own engine and requires a lot of fuel. So it is a cruise missile locates its target or has a preset target and navigates there. So one of the biggest advantage of the ballistic missile is that it has a greater range because it goes directly up in the atmosphere and requires less fuel. So it is generally a little faster. And cruise missiles generally have a very low capacity of carrying warheads, and ballistic missiles can carry warheads to a longer distance. Now, Business page news. So India has signed $201.50 million financing agreement with the World Bank for TWIP3, that is the third technical education quality improvement program. So the union government has signed financing agreement for the IDA credit of $201.5 million with World Bank for this program. And the aim of this is to enhance quality and improve efficiency of the education in the engineering education system. Apart from that, these are the objectives of this program. And so transparent and expeditious release of funds to institute by the way of direct fund transfers, better system for assessment of student learning, better administration of the institutions with improved financial academic autonomy, and better academic standards through accreditation, filling up faculty position, training faculty in better teaching methods, improve research outputs in institutions. So this will be launched initially in 8 states, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, and these all states. And it was, if you look at TechUp, it was launched by the government in 2003 with the World Bank's assistance as a long-term program for transformation of the technical education system. And it was to be implemented in 3 phases. This is the 3rd phase. Now, Sanjeev Sanyal has been named as the principal economic advisor, who was a former managing director at the Deutsche Bank as the principal economic advisor in the Department of Economic Affairs for 3 years. So this is a different position from the chief economic advisor, who is the chief person giving advice to the government in the finance ministry. Now, Centre has spurned Gujarat's plea to end duty on scrap ship imports. So the central government has actually rejected the demand by Gujarat government to do away with the 2.5% basic custom duties which was levied on ships imported for scrap, because the central government said that this will ruin the primary manufacturers of iron and steel, because items obtained from the scrap generated from breaking of the ships will compete with the products manufactured by them. So it will hurt the local industry there. But the Gujarat government wants it to be eliminated, as India's major shipbreaking industry is actually facing a lot of competition from the rivals like China and Pakistan, who actually do not impose any customs duty on the scrap for shipbreaking industries. So if you look at this industry of shipbreaking and scrap, India accounted for about 35% of the share globally in 2014 in ship recycling, and Gujarat is the leader in labor intensive segment, as over 90% of the ship recycling in India takes place at the Alangsoya ship recycling yard. So this is important, that can be asked in prelims examination. Apart from that, the ship recycling sector fulfills about 2% of the country's steel demand, besides saving substantial amount of natural resources, foreign currency requirement, and reduction in the carbon footprint. And the Gujarat government also said that it had launched a ship recycling policy in January 2016 to encourage this segment. Now, RTI Act comes into force in Sri Lanka. So very, very, very important news for prelims. There can be a question that which country recently started this RTI Act, or basically passed this RTI Act and came into force in which particular country. So Sri Lanka has passed this historic act, and it was published last week, in their gazette. And also the government also last week said that they gazetted the categories of public authorities that will fall within the purview of this RTI Act. Now, very interesting news. So, Dwarf Planet, that is the series, may have hidden ice volcanoes. So, Dwarf Planet series may actually host many hidden ice volcanoes, besides the only one recently discovered by a NASA spacecraft, as per a study. So, Ceres is the largest object in the asteroid belt that lies between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter. Its diameter is approximately 945 kilometers, making it the largest of the minor planets within the orbit of Neptune. And it is composed of rock and ice. And Ceres is estimated to compose of approximately 1/3 of the mass of the entire asteroid belt, and Ceres is the only object in the asteroid belt known to be rounded by its own gravity. So it lies in the asteroid belt between the Mars and Jupiter. So there can be a question about Ceres in the prelims examinations, because UPSC likes asking question related to space, space related information. So this is it for this video, guys. Do let me know what you think of this particular video and this course. Please recommend in every video if you like this video, and if you like our efforts of compiling different information relevant for this examinations, apart from the Hindu and other newspapers. So till next video, I hope you have a good day, and thank you so much.